Have you been wondering if we're getting close? I mean, I don't think anybody is questioning that we are living in the end times now. Nobody that I really know of, or that I would take seriously, I guess. Um, but are we actually coming down to the wire? Are we coming upon the tribulation itself? Hi, I'm Dawnita with prairie-trail.com. I'm a fifth generation Oklahoma Panhandle pioneer, and I just really like to discuss this kind of stuff and just dig in and search and check things out. So I thought, let's dig in. Let's dig in and see what we can figure out today. So I am going to screen share, and as odd as this may be, I'm going to go ahead and just share my whole hippie screen here. So are we entering the tribulation, and is the new world order upon us? And I am not going to be able to hit everything in this one video, I'm absolutely sure. I look forward to your thoughts and ideas. Definitely down in the comments, if you come up with a question or some additional thoughts that you have on the situation. I I know for a fact I am not going to catch it all. There's a lot of things happening in the world right now that are disturbing to say the least. And if you haven't been here very long, in 2017, the Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, southwestern Kansas, and southeastern Colorado had a wildfire outbreak. We've been in drought for a long time, okay? And we had an outbreak of fires. We had in January a huge ice storm that knocked out the electric poles. Limbs came out of trees. I mean, the ice, it kind of like rain and then uh, ice. We were so happy to have the moisture because we'd been going through drought so bad, but then it froze, and it broke tons of tree limbs. It broke highline poles. It was a huge big thing. We were out of electricity. The area was out of electricity for quite a while. And of course we weren't, because we have the ability to be off grid when needed. So we had that taken care of, thank goodness. My husband takes good care of us. And that is wonderful. One of the nice things about being married to an electrical contractor. Anyway, so we had this huge ice storm. Well, if you're in the farming community, if you put up hay wet, then the hay bales, whenever they heat up, they can catch on fire. They'll spontaneously combust. Okay. So all of those trees that were just dampened, frozen, and then it got hot and dry fast. And it was like putting up hay wet all over the land. And there might have been a few other things going on. Okay. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to get this taken down. But needless to say, we understand what's happening in some other places, right? It was huge. Millions of acres starting March 6th of 2017, millions of acres burned. We're not a really populated area, so we only lost, I can't remember exactly how many people passed away. We didn't lose very many homes at that time, a few, and there were some losses, but the big losses were in the animals, the wildlife, and the cattle. It was tragic. It was traumatic. the firefighters will say that those fires did not behave like fires usually do, like a normal wildfire. They were evil. Okay. So, we've gone through it. We've seen it. It was bad, and we fought it for a month because some of that thicker brush just burned and burned and burned and burned. And yeah, it was bad. So, you know, our perception of the world completely changed after that. We can see from our little hill up here, we can see 75 miles with the help of Paul's P900 camera. Just with the naked eye, we can see a good 50, 60 miles on a clear night. So our perception of our world changed drastically, if you can imagine. And so we began to wonder if some of the things in Revelation were different than what we had been taught, if things being laid out were a little different. And I'm just going to go through some scriptures here to begin with. And Deuteronomy says, when you are in tribulation, it doesn't say if. It says, when you are in tribulation, and all these things come upon you in the latter days, you will return to Yahweh, your Elohim, and obey his voice. That's happening. That is happening. People are returning to him. We've learned his name, no matter how you pronounce it. I'm not a big pronunciation person. My name's Dawnita, but people pronounce it Dawnita, all kinds of different. I even had somebody pronounce it Dawnita, and I think they got some letters backwards there. But I don't think the Lord minds that we all pronounce it just a little bit different, but we know what it is now. It's not just the Lord, right? So he said, we will return to him and we will start to obey his voice. Well, what was his voice? His voice is the word of God, right? And we're starting to look into the feasts of the Lord and some of these things that he said to do, Sabbath, when is the Sabbath and when is it supposed to be, and all these kinds of things. People are coming to him and starting to dig these things up and find some truth. And so it's happening, right? And then in Matthew and Mark, for in those days there will be such great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the creation that God created until now, no, and never will be. So it's going to be huge. Well, I keep hearing the old timers out here, 70, 80 years old, saying, I have never seen it like this. The weather, I have never seen it this bad. The fires, I have never seen them that bad. And they remember, they were there, right? We're just seeing things that, well, we're hearing the words unprecedented a lot, right? I'm kind of tired of hearing it. Are you? And then John 16:33, I have said these things to you that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So this is saying, don't be fearful, don't be worried, don't be concerned. It's okay. I've overcome this. I'm here. You're going to have this, but I'm going to be here for you. Romans 8:35-37, who shall separate us from the love of the Messiah? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or the sword? No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Okay, so just some encouragement there. This is not a scare thing, it's hard sometimes not to be scared, but rejoice and hope, be patient in tribulation, and be constant in prayer. When you feel those fears coming up, then, the best way to start fighting it is pray. We need to put on our armor of God, and we need to be praying. We need to rejoice in the hope that we have. And what is the hope that we have? The kingdom of heaven, right? That these things are going to, the bad guys are going to get their end, right? We have hope that people are going to be saved. We have hope that children are going to be saved from some of the atrocities that are happening today. We have hope that there's going to be justice in the world for some of the terrible things that are happening, right? So if we need to rejoice in that hope, because it is not a flippant hope. It is a real, true hope, and to be constant in our prayers. And he said to me, these are the ones coming out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Revelation 7:14. I love that. And who are these people? Okay, that's part of the reason I did this way. In the Deuteronomy translation, I kind of went through, this is really neat, and pulled up the original Hebrew and what those meanings are. And here you have Yahweh, Jehovah, however you want to do it. And then thy God, or Yahuwah. Some people say Yahuwah. Yeah. And then thy God. And this is the Elohim. I thought that was interesting. Let's see. I was pulling up Revelation. Okay. Revelation chapter 7 is the 144 sealed of Israel, 144,000. And we've got all of the tribes here, except it's a little different because Levi wasn't considered a tribe. Okay. Manasseh was considered a tribe. Okay. And then Ephraim, Manasseh and Ephraim were Joseph's two sons. Okay. So, and Dan is not here, which is interesting. If you've watched John Pounders and David Carrico in the Midnight Ride on Now You See TV, you may have heard some of this here recently. It was kind of a new thing for me. Had not caught that the tribe of Dan is not in there. And Gary Wayne talks about how the tribe of Dan is probably the Tuatanon from Ireland, and some very interesting stuff. I think Shelley over at There's No Place Like Home just did a video recently on this, and just very interesting of where the tribe of Dan ended up and what happened to them and why they're not listed. Very interesting. But here we have also, so if you don't feel like you're probably in here, because the tribes were scattered all over the world. So Manasseh and Ephraim, the Native Americans, especially the Cherokee, probably Ephraim and Manasseh, and I've got Cherokee in me. And so, we probably all have some of this. So just because it's only listing 12,000 from each tribe, that doesn't mean you're not in there. And then also it says, and after this, I looked and beheld a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, from all the tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, with palm branches in their hands, crying out in a loud voice, salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb. So, don't take these numbers and say, oh, there's only going to be 144,000. No, it's a great multitude no one can number. Okay. So be part of that number, right? Okay, let's pull me back out here. So I just wanted to bring that out. So it's talking about, what's happening, those coming out of the Great Tribulation, and pre-trib, post-trib, pan-trib. I had somebody say they were pan-trib, and I'm like, what? It's all going to pan out in the end, right? Whether you're pre-trib or post-trib, the point is we're all going to be going through some tribulation one way or another. I do not believe in a secret rapture. If you do, that's fine. But and I'll go into a little bit more of why I don't, but I don't think we even need it. It's going to be a special time, but those who are coming out of this, that's who he's talking about. So, but concerning that day or that hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. And this is in Matthew and Mark. And what is that no day or hour? Because we're sitting here, are we close to the tribulation? Are we entering the tribulation? Well, nobody's going to know the day or the hour. I beg to differ. What he's saying here is he's saying specifically what day or hour it will be. The Feast of Trumpets is a very interesting feast. It is a feast that no man knows the day or the hour, that only the Father in heaven knows when it's going to be every single year. Okay, so in Leviticus, the Lord told Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall observe the solemn rest. Okay, this is the Feast of Trumpets. The first day of the month is when the first sliver of the new moon shows above Israel and can be seen with the naked eye. Nobody knows exactly which day it's going to be. You have a general idea of when the new moon's going to show, when that first sliver is going to start showing, but nobody knows for sure when the first day is going to be. You don't know until it's spotted. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. And the people in Israel today practice this every year. When those trumpets sound, letting them know, and the 7th month, septa, for September means 7th. So it's in the fall. This year, according to, I was going to pull up Deborah's date tree, they do new moon observations and they tell you when they're looking for them and stuff. And they also do the Aviv barley, looking for the Aviv barley. And according to, there's a couple of different scenarios, but according to how I feel the barley was Aviv this year, the Feast of Trumpets for our family anyway, we won't be celebrating it until October this year. But some people will be celebrating it later in September, around the 26th-ish. Like I said, we don't know for sure what day, right? So, but September runs within that time, that 7th month. So that is the day no man knows. So we do know that I've got a fly in my face, sorry, that Yeshua was talking about right here is, but concerning that day or hour, he was talking about the Feast of Trumpets. So he talked in parables all the time, right? Always giving little keys to things. And we have to he gives puzzle pieces for us to put together. And then we need to remember, okay, this is why I don't believe, well, part of the reason that I don't, there's other scriptures as well, but part of the reasons that I don't believe in a secret rapture, okay, because in Revelation 7, at the beginning, it talks about the seal of the Lord on his people. So after this, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, that no wind might blow on the earth or sea or against any tree. So if the wind completely stops, look around, okay? If the wind completely stops, which here in Oklahoma, that would be a big thing, all right? If it completely stops, then watch out, okay? Everywhere, especially if it happens everywhere. Then I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun with the seal of the living God, And he called with a loud voice to the four angels who had been given power to harm the earth and the sea, saying, "Do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed our servants, the servants of our God, on their forehead." So if we go back to Revelation 7, yeah. Oh, I had the wrong Revelation on there, didn't I? Sorry, guys. I'll have to fix that. These ads. It starts with these trumpets, and where is it? I'm gonna have to find that. The first angel blew his trumpet. I think that was before. Let's see, 6. Yeah, see, I'm not even ready for what I'm doing. Isn't that great? It was before the seals. Well, I need to fix that. Ha! Well, where did it go? I think it was right after the churches, wasn't it? There it works. Isn't that terrible? Let's see. Because I did that. Maybe I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. Oh, that's right there. Yep. Yeah. So this is what he was talking about before, the 144,000. I'm sorry. My brain just went. Psst. Okay. Yeah. So I do know what I'm talking about. So this is what he's talking about. This is going to happen right before the seals, the 7th seal. So the first 6 seals happen before the sealing of God's people. And then the 7th seal is an angel took it and filled it with fire. There were peals of thunder and lightning and rumblings and flashes of lightning and earthquake and silence in heaven. So this was the last seal here that was happening, right? And then the 7 trumpets began. And it says in here that the creatures that come up out of the pit were not allowed to, yeah, here they are, these nasty creatures. But only those people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads were the only ones that they could harm. They were told not to harm, back this up a little bit, not to harm the grass of the earth or any green plant or any tree, but only those people who do not have the seal of God on the foreheads. That's important. So we've got the 5th trumpet here. So we go through all of the seals and to the 5th trumpet, and the people are still, and we're still here. Okay. And at this point, we've got the seal of God on our foreheads, and we're protected from this, from the nasty locust things, right? So that's important. I think that's important. Okay. Somebody else will probably have some really good input there after my brain thing. Okay, Daniel. In Daniel 12, he was said, but you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. That's like, really? Just at the end of what he's saying, sealing up the book, and then he says, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. And then he said, I heard, but I did not understand. Then I said, O Lord, what shall be the outcome of these things? And he said, go your way, Daniel, for the words are shut up and sealed until the time of the end. Many shall purify themselves and make themselves white and be refined, but the wicked shall act wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but those who are wise shall understand. So, I mean, that's another promise, is that God's people, as they're coming back to him in these last days, that we will be given understanding. Doesn't mean we're going to understand every single thing, but we're going to be given pieces of the puzzle to put together and to help us be able to see these things coming. Okay. Revelation 1 thing said, blessed is the one who reads aloud these words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear it and who keep what is written in it, for the time is near. And I just think that's cool that you get a special blessing for reading it out loud and for listening to it being read. So get your audio Bible and stick in Revelation, turn on Revelation and listen to it. Even if it doesn't all make sense, you will be blessed for listening to it. Okay. So just take that promise. And he said to me, do not seal up the words. So he told Daniel to seal up the words, but then he's telling John in Revelation, do not seal up the words of the prophecy of this book, for the time is near. Let the evil doer still do evil, and the filthy still be filthy. Okay. I think that's an important thing right there for us to think about. Let the evildoer still do evil, and let the filthy still be filthy. Unfortunately, some of the bad things that we want to see justice in what's happening today, especially whenever it involves innocent lives. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't, try to save them, try to help them. Definitely we should. But it says right here, let the evildoer do the evil. I mean, some of this we can't do anything about. We can do the best we can in whatever area each one of us is in. There are some people who are in better position to be able to save and rescue, and there are some of us who are in the position to hit our knees and pray. And that's about the best we can do, and that's probably the best we can do, right? So I just think this is interesting that, hey, let it be, right? Don't be worried about it, I think, is the whole point here. Don't get too worked up about it. Don't get worried about it. It's gonna be okay. And let the righteous still do right, stay on that narrow path, right? And the holy still be holy. Behold, I'm coming soon, bringing my recompense with me to repay each one for what he has done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. So we need to remember these things as we're seeing what's going on in the world today. It's hard to watch, right? But that's okay. He knows it's going to be hard to watch. It is probably hard for him to watch too, right? Daniel 12 goes into the time of the end. Let's see. Yeah, and here was, and Daniel shut up the words of this book and it really does. It says, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. And then it goes into this whole other thing here. And then he says down here, oh my Lord, what is the outcome of this going to be? And I'm like, shut up the book till the end, and many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. What is that? I really had some issues with that. Let's see, I did that one. Oh, here was another place in Ezekiel 9 where God marked his people, talked about marking his people. And it said, and the Lord said to him, pass through the city, through Jerusalem, and put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and groan over all the abominations that are committed. And to the others, he said in my hearing, pass through the city after him, after he's marked those people that are, repenting and strike. So he sent one angel out to mark the people, and then another angel right after him to not spare anybody that didn't have that mark on their foreheads. So this is showing, and the Old Testament is always like a shadow of things to come, right? So here's your shadow right here. And we can expect that to happen. Is it going to be fun? Nope, probably not. We're going to do the best we can. I found a few places that kind of, I like visuals. I'm a very visual person. And I thought this was interesting. This Revelation Made Simple. This goes through, there's the letters to the 7 churches, the vision of God's throne, the 7 seals, book open. Let's see, the book is opened. The 6 seals, the sealing of God's people, and then the 7th seal happens, and then we have the 7th seal is opened, and then the trumpets. So, I mean, this goes through each one of these. I think this is really interesting. I don't know who this person is here, but this kind of goes through. Here's the headed beast, the 7-headed beast, and things that we are kind of looking for, the vials of wrath, the bowls of wrath, going through here. And that's pretty interesting. We're seeing these things starting to get into place, right? And as I've gone through like the seals and the trumpets, and we're talking, there's judgments, like the 3rd judgments for the trumpets, a 3rd judgment on the grass, the sea, and the waters. With all the fires and stuff that we've seen, I wondered if maybe the 3rd of the world being burned up was over a larger period of time than what we thought. Maybe, later it's going to happen in a bigger, faster woof, but it just really seems like a 3rd of the world has burned to me. So I may be completely off, but it was just kind of one of those thoughts. This one is an interesting Revelation 13 and Daniel comparison. Again, I don't know anything about this ministry, but I thought this was interesting. Revelation, Daniel, the beast from the sea, the 10 horns, the blasphemy and speaking great things, the leopard, the bear, and the lion, which you can see these, governments and coat of arms, and you guys have probably seen some of the videos on the coats of arms and the governments and the being depicted by different animals and stuff. And so we can kind of get an idea of who is who's what's what, right? And then a great power, 42 months and 3.5 years, conquer the saints, global dominion and authority, I'd say worldwide dominion and authority, captivity, worship the image or die. We saw all of these. So, we've got our 2 witnesses. We've got Daniel and we've got Revelation to say, hey, these are the things that are going to be happening. They're the things to look for. And if we weren't going to be here for it, we wouldn't have needed to know this stuff was here, right? That's kind of how I see it. This is another interesting thing. It's kind of fuzzy here, but it goes through the different seals, Matthew 24, and then the Song of Moses and Deuteronomy 32. And it goes through these different things. And I thought that one was interesting as well. I'll try to see if I can have links or have these images saved in my Patreon or something. I've been trying to put the images and the slides in the Patreon. And then of course in the description I try to give you guys the website addresses and stuff of where I'm getting some of this. And here is the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 bowls. And kind of explaining again, I don't know, anything about the ministry that does this, but I thought it was a good visual of it. You know, green grass and a third of the trees are burned up. Like I said, that really seems like that's what's happening. Maybe not, but it does. Lots to look forward to anyway, and lots of things that just really seem like they're in the process right now. And then here was another one. Again, it's a little fuzzy as well, but very interesting. So, what is happening today? Well, with the whole, this is 2023 and Agenda 30, we've got 7 years to that. Are we going to see a 7-year treaty signed or something like that that's going to mark the beginning of the tribulation? I don't know. Definitely a possibility, and I'm watching for it. We've got a lot of things happening these days that are concerning, both on like on a financial stand of things and all kinds of different things. I had a person ask, what do I need to go out and invest in gold and silver? And it's like, no. I mean, if you want to and you have extra capital to invest in gold and silver, I'm not going to stop you, but I would suggest investing in useful things that you need. If you've been thinking about starting that garden, buy the supplies. If you're wanting a fence around it, if you're wanting raised beds, and if you can afford to buy the supplies that you're going to need to put that together, go ahead and get them. Make sure all your bills are paid up and maybe pay a little ahead. That's kind of our plan, is get a little paid ahead on some things, and get stocked up on some groceries and toilet paper and all that kind of stuff, so that if things go south really quick again, we've already seen it happen. So there's no reason not to be prepared for something like that. When Y2K happened, a lot of people were on both sides of the fence on that and fighting with each other. And some people, going overboard, getting prepared. And some people, just adamantly against, just thinking it was all dumb. Well, then 9/11 happened and the world changed. And we were happy that we had some of the preparations that we had for Y2K. I mean, we didn't have to buy toothpaste for years. Now we make our own. So, but it's I'm not suggesting it, going out and buying a bunch of stuff that you never use. I'm suggesting that you buy a few extra canned goods, an extra pound of beans, an extra pound of rice, maybe, just enough to get you by for a month or two at least, and have your bills paid and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave you with that. Hopefully somebody will answer the phone, because of course it's going to start ringing during a video. Yay, somebody got it. And I shut the door. The children are playing card games in the other room, so. But I wanted to get this done because there's just been some things here recently that have caused a lot of questions and stuff. I'm not exactly sure when I'll post this. I was tossing around just going ahead and posting it and or scheduling it for later, and I'm just not sure. This is information that can be used. It, there's not a time limit on it, until there is, basically. So I just want it to be an encouragement to you guys. Hopefully it is. I know I've been rambling. I just there's a lot going on, and it kind of throws us out here into some PTSD type issues whenever um we see the big fires in other places and stuff, and our hearts just really, really go out to the people that are dealing with this stuff. And it's hard. So, um, so yeah, I've just been on kind of a ramble because of it, and it's been hard to just catch up. So, I hope this is helpful. We've been kind of doing a little bit of a revelation study. I don't know that if I made a whole lot of sense. And if you know more about some of this stuff than I do, please leave in the comments and enlighten us, because no matter how many times I go through this book, something new comes up. I mean, it's the whole Bible's that way, right? Every time I read it, something new pops up and it's like, I don't remember reading that before. It is a living word, right? So it the Lord's constantly revealing himself to us. But we just need to, no matter how hard things get, keep encouraging each other. It's gonna be okay. The worst that can happen is we all end up in heaven. I, that's I mean, that's absolutely the best thing, and that's what we're looking forward to, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, yeah, I'll let this go, and uh, check out the website, go to prairietrail.com. I'll have I've got newsletters there. I've got the magazine, of course, is there, and the Patreon. I'm going to have some more stuff going into that. So if you're interested in that, I've got a prepping workshop in there, and mm, some other stuff in there. I can't remember what all. I've been popping things in there every so often. So if you're interested in that, and it's just at the pay whatever you want to thing on the Patreon. So it's not at like a $5 or a $10 thing. You can pay $1 a month, I think. I can't, I don't know what their minimum is, but anyway, I'd love to have you in there. I've also got a Telegram channel for the Prairie Trail. So if you're on Telegram and you'd like to just kind of, keep a daily thing, or visit or whatever, then pop in there. I would love to see you. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I hope it made sense. We will see y'all later.